One thing that I think really drives engagement is when the people that you lead are aware of what the expectation is, right? And they know, hey, on a regular basis, you're going to be evaluated based on these expectations. And so they know exactly what to do. They go out in the field and they're like, okay, boom, 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 boom.
Our guest today is Aaron Davis. Aaron is our GM, Natura Pest Control here in Vancouver, Washington. Aaron started with us in 2016. He started out as a technician for like a week. And then we were like, dude, this guy is leadership material. So he quickly became our service manager. Aaron is like the very definition of an intrapreneur. Extreme ownership is like at the heart of everything that Aaron does.
Welcome to the Bug Bux Podcast, a podcast designed to turn you into a bug money millionaire. This episode is brought to you by Bug Bux Plus, the #1 education and training platform designed to help you build and scale your pest control company. I'm your host, Eric Bassett, and in the Bug Bux Plus studio over in Vancouver, Washington, my co-host, Jake Claus. What's up, dude?
What's up, Eric? What's up, Bug Buxers?
Not much, man. Okay, so here's a crazy question for you. If you had to pick one Jack Black movie that was your favorite, what would you say?
I just sent a GIF to a friend at the fire department of Nacho Libre. Absolutely.
Yes, dude.
Without a doubt.
These are my stretchy pants.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie, dude.
Get
Fantastic.
that corn out of my face. Classic, dude.
Okay, Nacho Libre is a classic one. I agree 100%. And I feel like this is such a cop-out because we were talking about this literally before we hit record.
Yeah.
School of Rock is just, I could watch School of Rock over and over again. It's so good, dude.
Okay, so the next time you watch School of Rock, I consider myself a bit of a rock historian to some degree, right? Maybe even like specializing in the punk rock side of things, you know. But there's a moment in there. It's like a Jack Black teaching montage where he's writing. You'll know it. It's when they're playing the Ramones. Bonzo Goes to Bitburg, right? You know that song. And he's writing like the family tree, the hierarchy of rock and roll on the blackboard. So the next time you watch School of Rock, pause right there, and you'll have like the world's quickest lesson on the hierarchy, like the lineage of rock bands. And it is as accurate. It is as accurate as a rock and roll lineage could be. It's incredible, and it just flashes right past it.
Dude, yeah. Jack Black, one of the most creative, funny like musicians that I've ever watched. If you like holiday movies, here's a good thing for you guys. There's a movie called The Holiday that has Jack Black in it.
Yeah.
It's solid. So when your wife come Christmas time is like, I want to watch a Hallmark movie, be like, babe, listen, I've got something just a little bit better and actually has a storyline that isn't overdone 1,000 times. Let's watch The Holiday. It'll scratch the Hallmark itch, and it also has Jack Black, who's also pretty funny.
It's a very non-traditional Jack Black role, though.
Yes.
I would say it's not typical Jack Black. There's another Jack Black movie that is totally underrated, and I don't know if it got much play, and I can't remember the name of it. But it's the movie it's a true story about a guy who lived in Texas, and he swindles this old lady into taking all of her money. And it's a true story. And I actually sold in the town once. And that was like the town's claim to fame, is that there's this historical thing. But Jack Black, he plays, it's the name of it. The movie is the name of the guy. Bernie.
Bernie, is that what it is?
Bernie, I think his name is Bernie, I think. If I'm remembering correctly.
I gotta see if I can find this movie somewhere. You know another movie that I was thinking of while I'm looking for that one? Did you ever see Be Kind Rewind?
Oh, that's old.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's like following on the heels of Tenacious D when
Tenacious
D was just like a little clip on HBO.
Yeah. That's where the
Sasquatch greatest song in the world. You know,
they erase all the videotapes at the video rental store, and they don't want to get in trouble, so they go and they re-record all the movies based on what they think the theme of the movie is. and it's
Is
freaking
that what it is? I
hilarious.
never actually saw that, but I think I'm gonna go watch it now.
Yeah, it is actually it's really really solid. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
after we introduce our guest, we have to ask him what his favorite Jack Black movie is.
yes.
Yeah,
100%,
because he's
100%.
the one that brought it up.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we will definitely do that. Before we actually bring him on, just want to remind everybody listening, of course, the best way to receive new episodes is by subscribing to our show on your preferred podcast platform like Apple, YouTube, Audible, or Spotify. If you love the show, please leave us a rating and a review. Make sure to check out our Facebook group, Bug Bux Plus. That is BUGBUX Plus. We have the owners only group that has over 4,900 other pest control owners waiting to connect with you and share their thoughts. We also have the Bug Bux Pest Pros group for non-owner team members designed to help them develop in their roles. Joining the groups is the best way to connect with us, share your feedback on our show, and have your questions highlighted and discussed here on the podcast. So make sure you find us on Facebook and join one of those groups. All right, Jake,
Okay.
who do we have the pleasure of having in the studio today?
All right. So our guest today is one of my dearest friends. One of our longest running. How do you want to say it? He's like the man with the plan, right? He's the Chewbacca to my Han Solo. He's our right hand guy, and we've been talking forever about having him on the podcast. And I just popped into his office like 10 minutes ago and said, "Hey, what are you doing? Do you have an hour?" And he's like, "Yeah, what do you need?" And I'm like, "Oh, just come in next door and sit down in the seat here." And so we totally sprung this on him, which I think is just awesome. But so sitting right next to me in the Bug Bug studio is our GM, Aaron Davis. So let me give you a little bit of a background. So Aaron is our GM, Natura Pest Control here in Vancouver, Washington. He's been with Natura since
January 2017.
January 2017. I was going to say 2016.
Yeah, we were going to start in 2016, but we ended up pushing it like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So Aaron, originally he wanted to be a cop, but we stole him away from that dream, and he had a new dream.
Yeah.
To become a pest control expert.
Who knew?
Who knew? So so Aaron started with us in 2016. He started out as a technician for like a week, and then we were like, dude, this guy is leadership material. So he quickly became our service manager, and he's been our service manager ever since 2017 until what?
November,
November,
October?
yeah, 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
where Aaron was promoted to be the general manager of Natura Pest Control here, based in Vancouver, and it's a freaking awesome job. Aaron has taken the business and just run with it. And the great thing is that we've talked before about intrapreneurs on the show. Aaron is like the very definition of an intrapreneur. Extreme ownership is like at the heart of everything that Aaron does. We read Extreme Ownership. Shoot, when was that?
We've read it like 7 times now.
Yeah, it's like
it's a staple.
yeah, it's like the new Natura gospel is extreme ownership, and so Aaron embodies that to the core. Do you remember that? Do you remember that short story, Letter to Garcia? Did you ever read that?
Maybe? Remind me. Give me the deets.
Okay, so in a nutshell, it's during some war, I can't remember, and some general in Washington, D.C. has to get a message to a man named Garcia who's on the island of Cuba somewhere. I think it has something to do with the Bay of Pigs. I can't remember. But he hands this guy a message and says, "Get this message to Garcia." And that's all he says. And so the guy takes, I guess, what you would call back then like the ultimate extreme ownership, and like stops at no cost until he's like gone through guerrilla warfare territory and like slipped past the enemy, and finally he finds Garcia and he gives him the message. Anyway, it's the story of Garcia. I don't know what the cuss that has to do with anything.
For a half a second, I thought
story.
I thought there was going to be some twist at the end where, like, you find out that Garcia is like the assistant that's right outside the tent. You know, it's like get this letter to Garcia. You know, like goes to the ends of the earth anyway. Aaron would do that, to the ends of the
That's
earth.
what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. So you caught me yapping, but what I'm saying is that Aaron, like, that's Aaron, right? Get the message to Garcia, say, Aaron, this is what we need to do, and Aaron freaking figures it out, right? So that's Aaron. He's in charge of operations now, essentially. So he's in charge of the sales and service, and he oversees all of it. Yeah, Aaron's awesome. He's married to a woman who's way completely out of his league. I don't know how you pulled such a baddie.
No arguments there.
But Tara is way out of his league. Tara used to be our office manager, and she slayed it at our office manager, and then they started a family. And so
not
Tara,
in the office.
No. Are you sure? We did put up cameras. You just go back and review them. So they have a beautiful, beautiful baby girl, Jaina, and a new puppy. And Tara, I should add, is now Bug Bux's executive assistant.
She is. Shout out to Tara.
Shout out to Tara. We're like, we need someone who is a message to Garcia type of person. And Aaron and Tara both are like the most accountable, extreme ownership people that we've ever had in our organization. Incredible.
Dude, love it. Okay, Aaron.
So
Obviously, I feel like me and Jake could probably say good things about you all day if you let us. But I want the listeners to hear your
Eric,
story
keep in
kind
mind,
of.
Eric is being paid to be here.
What?
The only guest that we've had that's getting paid to be here. Our first paid guest.
That's amazing. It is our first paid guest. How about that?
Yeah, all right.
Aaron, I want the listeners to hear from you specifically what your journey has been like, what you like about Natura, what made you stay at Natura, some of the ups and downs and in-betweens.
Man, shoot, one word, down to one word would probably be unexpected, I would say. I wasn't even, when I came out here, Jake had it right, I was coming out here because I was going to go into law enforcement, and I wasn't going to work in pest control. Are you kidding me? What a joke, And then they were like, hey, well, what if we worked around your schedule? And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And so I did like mechanic stuff for a while. I fixed up the warehouse and did some stuff for the vehicles, and then stuff with the law enforcement. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Stuff with the law enforcement, life doesn't go the way you think it did, and so that didn't pan out, and so they were like, hey, well, what if you just stayed on with us, until you figure out your next thing? And it was like 2 months later, you were like, hey, like, I don't know if you figured out your next thing or not, but we think we did,
Yeah.
So that was back in 2017, so I'd only been here for about 5 months when that conversation happened, and been here ever since. It's been unexpected, it's been wonderful, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So a lot of growing from. It's been fantastic, honestly.
Yeah. Aaron and I, we've even gotten into it a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple times. But I would say every time that happens. There's the joke about like how guys,
Oh yeah, bro code.
yeah, they can beat the hell out of each other, and then the next day they're like totally good to go, and they're going fishing together. You know. And I feel like it's that kind of situation where it's like
totally.
we can holler at each other, and I don't think it's ever been something. We holler at each other, and then the next day we're like, "All right, man, so we'll see you at church."
But dude, I feel like it's such a good show of trust, because so many people in business, especially, right? You've got a manager, and you wish you could say that thing. You wish you could have that conversation, the conversation that really truly needs to happen, and you want to be 100% honest, but you can't. You know what I mean? Like, you're scared to, you don't think it's appropriate, or whatever happens. Jake and Aaron have had some crazy conversations that me and Jenna have had to be like, maybe we should take this down just a few notches.
Conversations.
Yeah,
Discussions,
conversations. But it goes to show how much trust that we have in Aaron, that we can actually have that conversation and know that we can move forward, that we're not going to scare him off, that he's going to stick around. So, hats off to the relationship.
Yeah. What's up, Bug Buxers? Are you looking for a powerful, natural way to control mosquitoes and ticks? Stop the Bites from Archeon Life Sciences is a FIFRA 25B exempt formula that delivers 100% knockdown of mosquitoes for up to 28 days with a 21-day recommended retreatment rate, seamlessly fitting into your service routes. Proven effective and trusted in the industry, it's the go-to natural solution. Ask your local distributor about Stop the Bites or visit stopthebitesmc.com. That's stopthebitesmc, like mosquitocontrol.com. And keep an eye on Archeon Life Sciences. Big things are coming.
Jake and I share the trait of we don't like to try to, like I think we're good at coming up with politically correct way to say things when we need to, but when you put Jake and I in a room, we don't want to waste time. We don't want to mince words. And so
That's a good way to put it.
We've ended up having some pretty good conversations, but I actually think that it was the best way to do it. You end up, I mean, we cut what I always say, cut through the fat, but we just go straight to the heart of the issue. We say exactly what's going on, and I don't think that we walk away with offense. I mean, it's been fantastic.
No, not at all. And it's one of those things where like a friendship is only so deep until you get into it together.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you get into it and survive, then the relationship's stronger. But yeah, we don't have those anymore because it's like we already had that. So
we had them.
We had them, and now the trust. Like Aaron drives my truck, I drive his truck. Like I would give him the keys. Well, you actually know where the key to my house is.
Pretty sure you're listed as the beneficiary of my daughter and debt if I die. So
right? Yeah. Yep. Oh, Aaron's also on my zombie team.
Yes.
Everybody's got their
I was
zombie
gonna say
team.
the what is it? SHTS, whatever, the shiz hits the fan team or whatever.
F.
TF.
Yeah.
F, there you go. Yeah.
Yep.
The acronyms.
Yeah. Yep.
Aaron would be on my team for sure. Aaron is a very strategy-driven, high-level thinker when it comes to problem solving, which I really appreciate a lot.
Yeah. Also, Aaron knows how to fix everything. So
Yes.
I'm mechanically declined.
Oh,
So
dude.
on your zombie team, you got to have the dude that you'd be like, oh crap, the truck broke down and all we have is a hammer and some bubble gum. And Aaron's like, let me MacGyver this.
Aaron is a
crap
MacGyver.
out,
This is how I know that Aaron can fix everything. Anything that we have needed to fix, Aaron will offer. He'll be like, "Oh, dude, I can fix that. I can do that thing." And I have to be like, "No, Aaron. We will pay somebody else to do that."
Yeah, a bunch of years
You
you
have
built
more
that.
important things to focus on,
Yeah.
we got one of our F-150s, one of our fleet vehicles.
Yeah.
The engine blew up on it, and so next week I'm pulling it into my shop and I'm rebuilding the engine on it, and because they wanted horrific amounts of money, and so it was all right. Well, Aaron, do you want to do it? And
Aaron,
it sounds great. And
Dude.
I don't mind doing stuff like that. But yeah, it was a big transition. I remember being like, "Oh, I can fix that," and it's like, "Hey, Aaron, how about you actually focus on this thing over here, and we'll pay somebody because it's cheaper to do that than it is to just send you to fix it."
Yep.
100%.
That's a
Okay,
transition.
so I've got a bunch of questions that I want to ask you about things that you're currently engaged in. But before we get there, I want to pick your brain and let the listeners gain some insight from you on ways that, if you have people out there that are technicians that want to become service managers or service managers that want to become general managers, right? What advice would you give them if they're technicians right now and they're looking for a leadership position? How do they stand out? How do they learn to grow and strive forward in the pest control field?
Accountability, be accountable for yourself, be accountable for the actions of your coworkers, be accountable for the actions of the company, the actions of your customers. Accountability. If you want to stand out, be accountable and I was gonna say problem solving oriented. Learn how your leaders want problem solved, how they would like problems to be approached, and then be a problem solving, solutions oriented person. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
Be a solutions oriented person and take extreme accountability. You're going to be solving problems for your coworkers and your coworkers, they should be talked to. Let them know, hey, just letting you know, we got this call. It looks like there's been several customers that I've been following up on where, I'm finding wasp nest up in the eaves. It looks like you were there just a couple weeks ago. And just wanted to let you know, I got it totally taken care of. It's not a problem, just something to think about. And now you're accountable to them. They're accountable to you. Accountability and solutions oriented is paramount. And it makes you, if you're doing those two things, it makes you low maintenance, which that is the next thing that I would say in order of, accountability,
Amen.
solutions oriented, low maintenance. You want to move up, don't be on my radar.
Yeah.
So if I'm not thinking about you, it means that things are going very well. And that means that when the time comes for a leadership opportunity, that's who I'm going to be thinking about. The guy who isn't stressing me out, keeping me up at night, the guy who I don't have to worry about if I'm going to get a phone call that morning saying something went wrong, accountability, solutions oriented,
Yeah,
and low
the
maintenance.
phone calls that we get from Aaron are more like, "Hey, I woke up this morning and I was puking. I think I ate something bad last night. My stomach is in my throat, but
Can I go home at noon? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the text message at like 3:00 p.m. where Aaron's like, "So I've been deathly sick all day, but I got everything done. Do you guys mind if I leave early?" It's like, why are you even here in the first place? What are you doing?
Yeah. So Aaron is definitely a diamond in the rough. I don't know that everybody is going to find somebody that is so dedicated that they'll do that they'll work through, throwing up and all of that stuff. But, going back to the accountability thing and the solutions oriented mindset, it's been really cool to watch Aaron have more and more and more responsibilities over the years. And one of the things that I've marveled at that you excel at, and it's an area where I totally suck, it's having like the I don't know, maybe not disciplinary, but the corrective conversations with employees, with technicians. Mm-hmm. Because for me, I'm like, I want to be friends with everybody. So I don't know how to be your friend and your boss, right? Well, I do, but I mean, like, it's not my strength, right? But Aaron can be both your friend and your boss at the same time. And so that's an area where I don't know that maybe that's thing number 4 that I would add on to Aaron's list is be the boss, but also be the friend. So that means, like Aaron's saying, like, you have to have a hard conversation with somebody. Hey, I've noticed that you've been sucking at being a technician. I'm paraphrasing. And so, here are the things you need to work on. And then the next day, you're having a barbecue at your house with the guy. You know what I mean? That's such an important skill in a leader in your organization. And not everybody has that skill. And maybe not every service manager has that skill. But if you're looking to have your service manager replace you, they have to be able to do that.
It's funny. I think that a lot of people, especially employees, they're attracted to 2 different types of people as leaders. And it's leaders that like enable their bad behavior. Like, it's a real cool place to work. He lets me do anything, whatever, and I never get in trouble. Great, man. Good for you. The other type of person is somebody that they respect because that person wants to help them build and grow and scale, right? And if you can help that person like become a better version of themselves and do it in a consistent and like gentle, like condescending way, then dude, you can do magical things with the business. And I think Aaron has that. That's why everybody likes him. That's why they want to spend time with him. It's not because Aaron definitely does not let you get away with anything. It's because there's a lot of respect coming up the chain of command for Aaron. Because in a gentle, consistent way, he says, hey man, like you said, got a call about this situation. I know that was one of your stops. Just want to let you know what the customer feedback was. If you have any questions, concerns about improving this, let me know. I'd be happy to help. Here you go, right? Send them on their way. And people respect that a lot. And I think Aaron has a huge advantage over a lot of different types of managers that I've personally met in the industry where they don't know how to positively encourage good changes of behavior. So I think that's a huge thing.
And what role would you say? Okay, so we're done stroking Aaron's plumage now. His head is going to explode. I can see it. I can see it happening right now. But I think that we would be remiss if we didn't include in this conversation the influence that Jana has had in Aaron's like development and leadership. Aaron and Jana are thick as thieves. When we come to the office, like I'll have work to do, and I'm like, "Where the cuss is Jana?" And she and Aaron will just sit and they'll just chat for hours, and that's Jana's leadership MO is just talking. I think it was once said that empathy is when you truly feel what somebody's feeling. Right? You can genuinely put yourself in someone's shoes. And sympathy is what a woman uses. It's a currency a woman uses to get information, right? So Jana, like in her empathetic way, can sit and just talk with Aaron, and Aaron and Jana understand each other. And because there's genuine empathy between the two of them, like the training and the mentoring has just like kind of just all flowed together. But Jana and Aaron are besties here at work. So I feel like if we didn't mention that, and Jana will hate that we're saying her name in this way in the podcast, but if we failed to mention that, then I think that we'd be doing a huge disservice
Well,
all
and
of us.
if I might say, I mean, I was able to work with, you know, Jake and Jana for a short while, and I didn't get to work with Eric all that much in the beginning, you know, for a little while, just different areas of, you know, what we were doing. But something that Jake, you and Jana have done very well that has helped kind of shape the direction is you guys, it was crazy and it was uncomfortable at first. I mean, I grew up and I didn't really, well, it doesn't matter, but you guys started just right. I mean, it was like right away, you just started telling me, hey man, I love you. And it was like, whoa, like you're my boss. What the heck? Like, can you say that in a professional environment,
Wait,
you know?
we started saying that?
Yeah, you
I
guys
thought
started.
that was you that started that.
Nope, you guys started saying it to me, and I was like, that's kind of crazy. Like that you guys love me. I'm like, I'm your employee, and I hadn't worked for you for all that long. And then I remember feeling awkward and uncomfortable about it at first, and then I started realizing, like, dude, no, I love you guys. Like genuinely, like holy cow, like I love you. And then I started implementing that same thing with the team. When I was a service manager, it was with the service team, and it is crazy. I would start saying, "Hey, man, I love you, man. Have a good rest of your day. You know, good luck on your route today. Holler at me if you need me or whatever." And it did not take long. And when I say not take long, I mean like a matter of days before I started sitting there going, "I genuinely love that guy," or I genuinely care for that girl. Like that is I now care deeply about them. And so something that we've implemented with the office and with the service team as well. They don't have to say it. I don't care if they say it. It's all sixes to me. I want them to know that I genuinely love and have concern for them. And so we've been trying to essentially implement that with like down the line. So like the technicians, you should be showing genuine love and concern for your customers' pest issues. You know, for the 30 minutes that you're there, you are there taking care of somebody that you love and are concerned for. You know. And having that kind of, but that's something that you guys had started with me, is saying I love you. And I remember I was so taken back. I was like, do you know who you're talking to? You know, like you're like, didn't you and I just have another discussion? You know, and so
Like,
yeah,
does
so
this
being
mean
able
you're
to
going to get me a Christmas present?
yeah, that's right. But yeah, you and Jana, you know, showing that kind of unconditional, immediate, you know, genuine love and concern for me. It's been life-changing for I've been able to carry that into the team as well. I hope, you know.
Oh, wow. Thanks for
You know,
saying
it's
that.
it's really cool watching something, you know, from the ownership level go down to the management level, go down to the employee level, and then make its way out into the field. Because you just mentioned something that I thought was really cool that I hadn't thought of before, which is a technician having genuine care and concern for like a customer's home and like their safety, their well-being, right? Whenever I hire like a third party vendor or whatever, like a contractor to do anything on my house, like my yard, home improvements, whatever that is, it's great hiring somebody because I assume that they care about that thing more than I do, right? Like if it's a gardener, they probably care about the garden more than I do. They're going to actually give me tips. They're going to put in extra effort because they genuinely care about that thing, right? And I don't know if anybody's ever really thought about the aspect of going to a customer's house and as a pest management professional, genuinely caring about the impact that that has on their home just as much, if not more, than the homeowner does. Because if you do and you can communicate that to the homeowner, if the homeowner knows that you care to that level, dude, what an amazing resource from a retention standpoint that could be, right?
Yeah, we joke around and say, man, you could be spraying cat pee all over the side of their house, but as long as you connected with them at their door, they will never cancel. And you know, don't test that theory, obviously. But
Well, I wonder
it's
how
just a
much
stupid saying that we
how
have.
much does a bottle of concentrated cat pee
Probably
go
cheaper
for
than the
now?
pesticides we use.
For half a second, I thought Aaron was going to know a price off the top of his head, and I was not even going to be surprised.
I got a cat urine guy. So
Yeah. Nice.
Of course you do. Okay, so you've been the GM now since November-ish of this last year, which was 2024. You know, you're going on your first season. What are some of the things that have been fresh on your mind that you've been trying to implement or change or just improve in the last few months?
Unity has been a big one. I know I'm the first general manager that we've had here at Natura, and prior to that, we had an office manager and a service manager, and they kind of ran their own departments. And I know it
It
was
almost seemed like there was like a kind of like a barrier.
Yeah, like a
between-
divide.
Church and
Yeah.
state separation a little bit.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything or anyone there to bridge, to adequately bridge kind of that gap. And I remember all of us had gotten frustrated a number of times trying to come up with solutions and and it's difficult because it's like, hey, Aaron, I hear what you're saying, but like you're the service manager, so like go be the service manager, and hey, so and so, I hear what you're saying, but you're the office manager, so go be the office manager kind of thing. And so it's been a really cool experience. One, the autonomy and the trust that you guys have shown to allow me to just kind of, frankly, just pick stuff up and run with it, and kind of. I'm right now. Sometimes I feel like I'm like the kid running with scissors, and this is either going to go really well or it's going to go really poorly, and let's just see what he does, But it's been building that unity and helping the both departments between the service team, I guess all three, between service, sales, and customer service, obviously, helping them recognize that not only are we all on the same team, but almost every single thing that we do affects the other person. And so you need to be able to show that genuine love, concern, and take accountability, because it extends, your actions extend. You having a bad day in the morning as a service technician, it becomes really easy to maybe cut a corner, or maybe you weren't as friendly as you should have been with that customer. But man, the dominoes effect that has down the line, by the time it reaches, some of those calls, they reach me and I'm dealing with an upset customer. But what stemmed it was something that was so small and insignificant that maybe that technician should have been more accountable for, So it's been building that unity and seeing how cool it is to have teams that want to spend time together. They want to communicate with one another. They want to share crazy stories, with each other. The office, they get crazy stories over the phone. Technicians obviously probably have the craziest stories of them
they
all.
got their own tech stream, Tech Tales.
Tech Tales, yeah. And so being able to see that they all want to be involved in each other's responsibilities and how their days are going. And also, they all check in with each other at the end of every day. Every single day. They shoot a message and they say, hey guys, I'm headed to my last service, or I've got one more left. Or the office says, hey, I'm getting ready to head out here. Is there anything that you guys need from me before I head out? That is genuine love and concern and accountability for one another. So that unity has been a big thing, and from my perspective, it's gone phenomenally so far.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. And so our son Jack is a technician right now, and the other day he told me, I said, well, how many stops did you have? And he said, well, I had this many stops, but at the end of my day, I always text out on the stream and say, hey, is there any stops I need to take, anywhere that I can fill in? Yeah. And I was like, that's so cool. You do that? And he's like, well, yeah, Dad, we all do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
it's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And that, like, you say unity, and really, in order to have a well-functioning team, that's a major part of it, right? Mm-hmm. And here's another interesting thing, is that for a long time, I think that it was like 2 employees that we had were found through Indeed or like an outside hire. All the rest of them were employee referrals. Hey, we got an opening.
There was a point when like 95% of every person that worked here was referred by somebody else, and they were fantastic. Yep. They were just amazing.
Yeah. So what does that say about, that says a lot about the company culture, right? That our people love working here so much that they want to bring their friends in to work. So, so Aaron, that's been like a major thrust of having you in a leadership role here. But I want to shift gears just for a second and talk about something that's more, maybe like implementable, maybe more boots on the ground. So let's talk about systems and processes for a moment, like standard operating procedures and things like that. How do you see what technicians are doing? And how do you evaluate whether or not it's working? And then how do you make changes? Like, what's your process for making changes to SOPs?
Yeah. So, like right now we do, each service technician does a ride along with the service manager every other week. So they'll get about 2 a month. And we have a very, very clear, very strict outlined point system of, did you do this at the customer's house? Did you do this? Did you do this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how did you perform in this category? Things like that. And the service manager, they're evaluating them as they go through this ride along. And And we share that. We give that to the employee. We pay a bonus, based on how they perform and what their scores were and stuff. And so we really count on transparency to say, hey, these are what's expected of you. It's very clearly outlined. I think our service quality score is like 30 points that we need them to earn, at these services. And what's crazy is no part of it is asking them to go above and beyond. It's literally just, hey, this is the minimum expectation that we have for you. How did you do?
Yeah.
And so being able to have that one-on-one time with them in a service environment where they're there. It's a real customer's house. The service manager literally just meets him on his route, hops in his rig with him, and they're together for like an hour. And so you get a really good indication of how each individual is performing. And then if you start to see that something is slipping, we have essentially what it is, hey, depending on your score, which there's a book, well, it doesn't matter anyways, but there's a book that talks about scoreboard, and actually most leadership books talk about you need to have a scoreboard. Everybody needs to see how things are going, how they're performing. It keeps people focused, engaged. It keeps an urgency there. And so everybody's scores are published at each weekly meeting up on the screen so everybody can see. And then the team itself has a cumulative score, based on averages and whatnot, and that's placed up there as well. And so being able to see how you're performing, how your coworkers are performing, makes you accountable to them. And then having those ride-alongs, having those trainings and whatnot done every other week gives us the opportunity to, hey, we've noticed that for, your last two, you've scored, under in these categories. It looks like this is something you're struggling with. What can we do to help? Like, are you aware of how to do this thing? Or is there a reason that you don't do it that way? Do you just can I just take you on a ride along with me and I can show you how to do it, and it's all about development, helping them, improve and get better. It does nobody any good to say, why are you doing it wrong? I mean, well, they might be doing it wrong because they were trained wrong,
Right,
or
yeah.
maybe they weren't there. Maybe they were absent the day that you introduced the change in SOP or whatever, and so being able to have these consistent ride-alongs, and then holding each other accountable to it, that you just adjust as you go, and you give them the tools that they need and the resources that they need. And also the last thing I'll say is stay. Can I say hell on the podcast?
It's a Bible cuss.
Okay.
Yeah,
Stay the hell out of their way. Give them everything they need to do the job, and stay out of their way. They should know very clearly, like I said, with like our SQS, and then we have one for vehicle inspections as well, which are done every other week. That tells them, hey, like, this is what's expected of you, and as long as they're performing within that, goodness gracious, let them do their thing.
Let them cook.
Let them cook. Give them the autonomy that they need to explore their solutions and problem solving, and ask each other about creative ways that they solved some crazy ant or spider or wasp problem or whatever. So hold them accountable for standards that are very clearly outlined and that they're aware of, and that it's consistently being seen in a scoreboard. And then stay the heck out of their way and let them bring their own personality, their own skills, their own, creative problem solving into it. And if you do that, also, if they do something wrong, it's okay. So I see why, maybe that's why you solved the problem this way, but like, I would have gone about it this way. This is probably the better way to do it, for whatever reason. But don't come down on them for it. Compliment them for, dude, that is a creative solution. That's not something I would have thought of. Or, I see why you did that. We've done that in the past. We've actually found that this tends to be a more effective method, and build them up for coming up with those things creatively. And then if something works and it keeps working and the numbers show that it's still working, implement that into your SOP. Make that a standard operating procedure for your whole team. And I have found that it's incredibly effective and builds a lot of engagement. If you have the person that came up with it, train the team. Put them in front of the team, let them stand up and say, so that way I'm not standing up and saying, hey guys, look at this amazing thing that I've created. Look at how incredibly smart I am, and I'm a brilliant person. Everybody's going to do this because I'm so smart.
Yeah.
Instead stand up and say, hey dude, Miguel came up with this fantastic idea. We've tried it out. It looks like it's working really well. I'd like him to come up here and train everybody on it. Give Miguel the opportunity to put together a well thought out structured training for it, and then make that part of your SOP. And the engagement and the love and the accountability that person will take for what they did it can't be measured.
Yeah, and we've seen that. We've seen that play out over and over and over again.
You've touched on tons of good stuff. One of the things that I think was really
I don't
great.
know if I answered the question.
No, that was exactly
That was
the answer.
amazing.
Yeah.
That was great. And it was funny because I was going to say, Aaron, tell us about the specific things, like Jake was asking, what are the systems and processes? And you went through tons of them. You talked about the service quality scorecard, the vehicle quality scorecard, and without kind of diving into so much of the specifics on that, I remember sitting down with you in my office and talking about those. Yeah. And saying, okay, here are the categories, here's what we think is important and why, and here are the points that we want to put towards this stuff. And one thing that I think really drives engagement is when the people that you lead are aware of what the expectation is, right? Yeah. And they know, hey, on a regular basis, you're going to be evaluated based on these expectations. And so they know exactly what to do. They go out in the field and they're like, okay, boom, 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 right? I know I need to hit on these things and I'm trying to score highly on these things. And more than that is that they see the connection between what's on the scorecard and customer engagement, like customer satisfaction, right? That's the end result, is that they're doing it because they know it makes the service better. It's not just because I want to score highly on the scorecard, right? And we've always kind of been in the habit of having nice vehicles and being maybe at the forefront of testing out different types of vehicles for our fleet. Sometimes it works out great.
We won't mention the Prius. Let's just
as we mentioned the Prius. We don't like to talk about it too much. But it's setting those expectations hey, we're happy to provide these new and comfortable vehicles for you guys, but in return, here are expectations about them, right? So it keeps our vehicles from getting completely trashed, which is great. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit on, and you mentioned this before, about meetings, right? Having guys kind of lead some of the discussions when it comes to new initiatives that they're rolling out. What can you tell us about your meeting format? How often are you doing it? What does it look like? What do your meetings look like with other leaders in the company? We're going to take a quick moment to highlight one of the premier sponsors of the Bug Bux Plus platform. Navigating the digital landscape of pest control marketing can be overwhelming, but with over 16 years of industry experience, Lizard Marketing knows exactly how to help you dominate your market and outshine the competition. Their team understands the unique challenges of the pest control industry and crafts high-impact SEO strategies, stunning website designs, and laser-focused Google Ads campaigns that don't just bring in leads, they convert them into loyal customers. Lizard Marketing believes that trust, transparency, and partnership are the foundation of success. They don't just offer marketing services. They build relationships with their clients, working side by side to help them achieve their business goals and grow with confidence. If you're a Bug Bux member, mentioning your membership unlocks exclusive savings on their services. And if you're expanding your skills through our online educational platform, you'll gain access to even greater deals to strengthen your digital presence. DM marketing to the Bug Bux Podcast Facebook page for more information, or visit lizardmarketing.co today. Mention your affiliations and claim your discounts. With Lizard Marketing's proven expertise and client-first approach, you'll adapt, evolve, and succeed. Now back to the Bug Bux Podcast.
Yeah,
Don't forget to hit on the tokens.
Oh, the Natura coins?
Yeah, Natura coins, yeah.
Those were actually pretty cool, man. We had these super fancy, heavyweight, ceramic.
They're actual poker chips.
Actual true poker style poker chips. We spent a fortune on them, and we were cracking up because we spent more on the coins than what the coins were worth when we handed them to the guys. So we were like, all right, we spent, $1,500 in Natura coins, and each coin's worth, 50 cents or something like that. It was ridiculous. But it was cool. I mean, and what it represented was worth far more than, what we paid on some not monetary value of a coin, But Eric, your question was, meetings and integrating leadership and kind of what those are. So we have weekly meetings, absolutely necessary. We have them in the morning too. Service teams are notoriously solo. The service industry tends to be very little. I mean, and I don't want to be sitting next to you in the truck the whole day to make sure you're doing your job. I want to give you what you need and trust that you're going to do it, and then hold you accountable if you're not. And so it's vital that these service meetings are had in person. Even during COVID, we were doing them virtually, and we all have a joke about an employee that we used to have who who on virtual, it's middle of winter, and we're doing these meetings at 6:30 in the morning, so it's like pitch black outside, and he's sitting there in his van with his sunglasses on, he's hunched down like this, and we're like, yeah, so that's virtual for you, you know. but
Was he asleep?
Nope. He was sending us a message, but that's all right.
I see.
We took care of that pretty quick, so it was the only day that he did it. But yeah, have these in person, and give the guys and the gals, give your team an opportunity to interact with one another, to be social with one another, have a good time. And we have an agenda, so we always follow the same agenda. The first couple of minutes, the leaders, service manager and lead technicians and myself, we're walking around, we're giving hugs, we're saying hi to everybody, asking about their weekend or whatever and how things are going. And then we immediately move into scoreboard, and we put that scoreboard up on the wall, and we've got like the service quality scorecard, vehicle quality scorecard, completion rate, and then we even record the number of 5-star Google reviews that they have attributed to them. So after we do the scoreboard, we read off the Google reviews, and we have 2 big old cork boards in the office with all decorated, all fancy and whatnot, and we read out, hey, 5-star review for Scott, from so and so.
They're like printed out, and
we print them on little pieces of paper,
cut into strips.
Yeah, they're like, depending on how big the review is, they're just cut into strips, and we read it out in front of everybody, and we all cheer, and then we hand them their Google review, and when we read them all, they get to go tack these things up underneath their actually the office, our customer service team, they went online and perused social media and tried to find the funniest photos they could of each employee to put it up on the board. And so that was kind of fun. But and following that, we move into, we do 3 practical trainings a month, where it's, a pest training specific, where you're training about these pests or the environment or equipment, things like that. Or, just in general, how do you behave as a technician? What do you do about your vehicle and stuff like that? And then once a month, we do a technical training where we'll go out. We're fortunate here because I live 10 minutes away, and we have some property. And so we'll go out to our property and we'll do a technical training specific to a pest, where they actually get to dig down into the dirt and physically practice, baiting for moles, and their leads are there next to them and their coworkers are, we have, leadership teams, and they split up. And so they're there to learn from their coworkers and whatnot. But we have an agenda that we follow. And then we always, the last few minutes of the meeting, we always open it up for, hey, is there anything that needs to be brought up? Any concerns, questions, that is appropriate for the group. But every week we're on a rotating schedule for who's running those trainings. So our service manager generally always runs the scoreboard and the Google reviews, because I want that coming from our service manager, that's Thor, and he is
Thor?
Dude, he's a tank.
Yeah, Thor lives up to his namesake.
Yeah, seriously, no job. But yeah, just an amazing guy, and I want him to be up there showing the scoreboard, going over the numbers, helping the team see how they're each performing, and then we rotate who it is that's going to be running the practical trainings. And we use a couple different platforms to operate those. We love integrating quizzes, like fun quizzes throughout the test, and we give a candy bar to whoever has the most points at the end of the quizzes and stuff. So there's all kinds of platforms you can use. One of the ones that we use that we like the most is Kahoot. If anybody's familiar with those, it's a phenomenal platform for trainings. And so the guys, they have their phones and they're answering the quizzes and they're going through the trainings and everything like that with you, and it's always a really good time. But those trainings are run by a different person, rotation. Each week. And sometimes if somebody's uncomfortable for some reason running a training, we'll partner them up with one of the lead technicians. And okay, sweet, we're going to hook you up with Chris, and you and Chris are going to do this together. And then the next time they won't be they won't be so uncomfortable with it. It's just something they had to experience. For a lot of these guys, this is the first. For a lot of these guys, it's their first, I would say, trade experience, real trade experience, and then for even more of them, it's probably their first opportunity to exercise leadership and autonomy. And goodness gracious, give them what they need, and then get the heck out of their way.
Yeah.
But
before we end the episode, Aaron.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've been pretty long-winded today.
No, dude, this is exactly why
Great, dude.
people aren't here to hear us talk. They hear us talk all the time. So here's my last question for you. So when we hire new technicians, they go through training steps. So if we've got a listener out there who's, he's a PCO, maybe he's doing the hiring and training himself and he's looking for ways to improve that, or maybe he has a service manager who handles the steps and the processes of hiring. What are 3 things that you would say to a service technician out there or a service manager out there to improve the training process for their new hires?
So for any company that is hiring technicians and train, have a competency checklist and have that be a physical paper copy like our guys, when we hire them, they fill out all their employment paperwork and then we hand them, it's 2 pieces of paper and each paper has here's a list of competencies, skills, things that we need you to be competent in. And many of those things you must do this a certain number of times before your training has been checked off, because we want you to have this much experience with it. Hand that to them and they're accountable for making sure that they're trainers, because we rotate through several trainers so that you get lots of different exposure, lots of different experience, lots of different techniques. It's pest control, right? So there's only one way ever to do anything ever that you ever do it, right?
Yep.
So we rotate through several guys so that we can learn from each other and kind of learn our own techniques. But have that competency sheet there with very clear outlines of this is what you need to understand, or this is what you need to have treated for rodents, and did you do that 5 times? And their trainer, whoever it is that day, has to sign off each time that technician, competently handled rodents, treating for rodents or treating for box elders or insert thing here, and that includes, we even go to, do they understand the order of operations for how we want them to approach the door? What they're going to say to the customer? Did they set expectations correctly, or did they completely skip it on accident? And the customer has no idea what to expect for the next 3 months. And then having those trainers sign that now holds your trainers accountable. So now they are accountable. Hey, I noticed that Scott went to a customer's house and you initialed that he did rodents 4 times. But I just went there and the bait station is wide open and, he was pouring peanut butter into the bait. That's never happened to us, but I'm being facetious. But now you can hold your trainers accountable and say, hey, you checked this guy off, but he is not there, and the next guy that trains Scott tomorrow is going to say, whoa, you've done this 4 times, but you have no idea how to do it today. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing that we do with training is each trainer sends in a brief training report at the end of every day. And what I want to know, it's like 5 sentences long. I want to know what they're doing well, what they need to work on, and then what specifically the trainer did with that trainee, with that new technician. What specific actions did the trainer take to work on what he noted, like what he recognized they were struggling with?
Oh, yeah.
But that tells us a really good idea generally of the progress of the trainee. But I actually think more importantly is it holds the trainers accountable. Now the trainers are telling me, and that this report gets printed and put in that the new technician, the trainee, it gets put in his file. So they need to understand the weight and the importance of, hey man, what you say is going to likely determine at least maybe the next 3 to 6 months of this guy's career alone. It's not just about you getting through the end of your day, checking off the boxes and going home. Like what you have to say right now is going in this employee's file, and both of you will be held accountable for what that says. But have a process. So 3 things. Sorry, have a process. Have both the trainers and the trainees be accountable to that process, and gosh, I guess everything just comes down to accountability. You want 3 things, but I would say accountability.
Yeah.
But yeah, have a process. Make sure that they're each accountable to that process, and then hold. Have somebody. In this case, it's myself and our service manager. We're both very involved in that. Holding them both accountable to that thing.
Yeah.
Dude, Aaron, this has been such an awesome conversation. And what's funny is I think me and Jake sometimes, we talk about a lot of Natura stuff. from kind of a really, whatever, the 10,000 foot view a lot. And so I think it's great to have our audience hear it directly from you that has a little bit more of the boots on the ground, engaging with the technicians and the service staff. It's been an awesome conversation. And I feel like I'm like patting myself on the back by talking about how cool the processes are, because these processes benefit my company. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But honestly, dude, you're a huge asset to us and Natura. And I know that a lot of the stuff that you've talked about, in fact, everything you've talked about today, would be a huge asset in anybody's operation. So thank you, dude, for being here. We're going to have you back on the podcast. I think it's official. At least maybe a couple times a year. Little Aaron episode would be great.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
I think that was perfect.
I knew that if I gave you like a lot of like days, you would just stress
I'd
about
be
it.
panicking about it. And
Yeah, it's like
I'd come in here with 6 pages of a script, like, nope, that question isn't in my script,
Right.
Like I've prepared this whole document. If we could all just read through this.
I need a list of questions in advance, please.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
love
is
it.
a testament to both your over preparedness and your ability to think on the fly. Right.
Yes. Awesome, dude. Well, thank you again. And of course, for everybody listening in, thank you for taking the time. If you have a coworker, manager, or an owner who could benefit from listening to this episode, the best way to say thank you to us is to share this episode with them. If you haven't joined the Facebook groups yet, go find the groups and join. It's Bug Bux Plus. Lots of information and great connections there. If you have a topic that you want discussed on the show, drop it in the group. As always, this episode is brought to you by Bug Bux Plus, the #1 training and education platform designed to help you build and scale your pest control company. Visit bugbuxplus.com to sign up and start building today.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Thanks again for listening in, and until next time, keep building those pest control companies.
You're listening to the Bug Bux Podcast, hosted by Eric Bassett and Jake Claus.